Hello, it is your Astro Coach Sarah here for your weekly update to include astrology, tarot, oracle, crystals, and more. So if you want deeper dives on astrology specifically, you can join me over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. It is a paid platform, but that's where me and a whole bunch of other practitioners do a lot of work. We have yoga practitioners, we have just spiritual guidance, spiritual mentorship, things like that. But I do a weekly astrology forecast over there. So if you're wanting something more astrological, paid platform. I'm happy to see like a lot of astrologers switching to paid platforms because honestly, this shit is a lot of work. And I'm not complaining, but I am saying that like astrology is a lot of work. Anywho, so this week we are talking about December 17th through the 23rd, fourth, third, fourth, a third. We'll go with the third because I think that's Tuesday. Um, so we have Mercury out of his post-retrograde shadow, but in Sagittarius, where he is not the best. That being said, it's still not like, Mercury is Mercury, right? But he is out of his post-retrograde shadow, still in Sagittarius, not his favorite place to be, but here we are. We have a darkening moon to a new moon. We'll have a new moon on Friday, which is the 19th. And then we, of course, have the winter solstice on December 21st. So, yay, days will finally start getting longer. But I know there's a lot of winter yet to get through if you are in northern states or Midwestern states. Feels like winter started early this year, but there we are. So, this is a new moon in Sagittarius that we're going to have on Friday, the 19th. And it is square to Neptune in Pisces, and it is conjunct the galactic center, which is one of six fixed stars that we have in our solar system. Um, and Mercury, shortly afterwards, is going to square the nodes, meaning the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo. Now, so with this new moon and then the Mercury square the nodes, um, this is Sagittarius is about broadening our horizons. It's about religions, philosophies, belief systems, long distance travel, foreign affairs, not just like foreign love affairs, but like foreign, foreign affairs, as in foreign interests and things like that. So this really could be, this is also like three of six new moons that we're going to have at 28 degrees of the signs, which is a latter degree. We normally have new moons at the earlier degrees of signs, but currently we're in a backward cycle. So the new moons are falling in the latter degrees of signs. So it's kind of like, where have you grown? But also like, how can you further, um, expand yourself, your education, your knowledge, your practices, things like that. Um, because, yes, it's religion, but it's also philosophies and belief systems, and things like Buddhism and whatnot are not religions. They are, in fact, philosophies. And so that's something to consider. It's square to Neptune, so there could be like some clarity around something. There could be um, some sort of ping. I feel like there's a lot of like, duh, the answer was the thing that you resisted the most in doing, like sort of energy right now. It's kind of what I've been getting in my tarot practice readings is like, duh, the answer has been right in front of you. Because I feel like there was something that all of us got in April of this year, 2025, when Venus was in Pisces, stationing direct with Saturn and the North Node. That lasted for like 3 weeks. That was not an accident, guys. That was something very intentional, very divine, because it was something like we got like a spark, we got like a something, and we may have ignored it in the time. We may have ignored it in the moment, but here we have this new moon square to Neptune, square to Saturn. We've got Venus square to Saturn. Um, there's something. that you got in April that now you're like, okay, maybe I do need to look into that more. Maybe I do need to create that thing, something like that. And so I feel like with this new moon, it's an opportunity to like grow or expand or broaden whatever it is that came up for you in April. Um, of course, if you have planets or points in the latter degrees of the mutable signs, Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, this may affect you more. If you have planets or points in the latter degrees of the fire signs, this could be a very supportive new moon. So Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. Um, and then we have Mercury squaring the nodes. So Mercury's kind of like, okay, I've done my retrograde thing. I've gone over all this Scorpio stuff a few times. We got something, and now we're gonna lean into the choices, the conversations, the thought processes, the things like that. I can tell you right now, like moving forward, if you're trying to be logical and think things through and plan things through and create the scenes and the scenario, it ain't gonna go that way. It's not gonna go that way. I think this is a very much like we've been really encouraged with all of that energy that had been in Scorpio during Scorpio season. We kind of all got like encouraged to really feel into our intuition, feel into kind of like the delusion of like, I really could do this thing. It's fucking bizarre as shit, but I could really do this thing, right? Like I have so many like big vision ideas and I'm like, "Oh my God, I could actually do that." Kind of thing. So, that's kind of the new moon is kind of feel into like what you could actually do that's completely fucking delusional and it doesn't make any goddamn sense, but it works, right? Um, Also, then after that, excuse me, everything's going to start moving into Capricorn. So now we have, and with that new moon, we do have Mars already in Capricorn, but shortly thereafter, we will have on the 21st, in the overnight hours between the 20th and 21st, we will have that winter solstice moment when the sun enters Capricorn. Mars will be there. The moon will be at the latter degrees of Capricorn when the sun moves in. And shortly from now, we will have Venus move into Capricorn. So Capricorn is the traditional Saturnian energy, meaning it's the traditional earthy energy. It does rule things like authority and hierarchy and old wisdom and things like that. But it's also kind of like the longevity um, like the long process, right? So this may be like, and I've already been feeling this energy, like solidifying the nuts and bolts that you need, like the seeds that you need, the routines that you need, the processes that you need, the organizational skills that you need in order to execute the further growth of a seed, right? So if you're planting a seed because it's winter, is when we plant seeds and start solidifying the little things that will actually bring those seeds into a harvestable, is that a word? Harvestable? A plant that is able to be harvested later in 2026. I don't know, but and so, it really could be a good weekend, the 20th and 21st to really, start really focusing on what needs to actually be done. That being said, it's also a good time. I just posted a video about how to clear and cleanse your energy. I did it on purpose because we're going to start running into some pretty potent work, grind type of energy, which is good, right? We all need work and grind type of energy, long haul, long goals, long intention type of energy. However, you can easily burn out if you're somebody who needs to actually take time to process emotion or process information, right? And some of us who don't have favorable Mercury placements or we have a lot of water in our charts, um, we may need extra time to process. So it's something that we need to be responsible about as we move forward. So that video, is something that you might want to come back to. Yeah, and who's to say I won't do another one? Because I think I've done a couple of those already. Um, and then as we move into next week, the moon will be in Aquarius, and then Venus will be finishing up her journey in Sagittarius. So by next week, we will get into Venus into Capricorn, setting the stage for the next month of transits. We do have some longer term things playing out that will peak in January, but I don't want to get to those just yet. I'm going to keep us at the new moon in Sag and the winter solstice. I, for one, am looking forward to the winter solstice because again, days finally start getting longer, although winter is forever and a day, no matter what. So let's see what's going on with the tarot this week for you guys. Excuse me. Still getting over the congestion stuff, but definitely doing a lot better. So, can't remember if I knocked on the deck or not. So we'll knock on the deck and clear its energy and get us the energy for the new moon and the winter solstice. See what the tarot has to say. I just realized I'm shuffling it the wrong way. Face down or face up instead of face down. Anyway, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope that you are getting a lot out of those. I have to tell you, like, there is a lot of folks that are experiencing a lot of different things. And I'm not someone who strictly follows the Schumann, but I do follow like solar flares and CMEs, which are hmm, crap, I forgot what they're called. But that's like solar flares bring like solar energy out into the solar system, as in all of the planets. And I can tell you that like people who thought that they weren't like spiritual people are starting to practice metaphysical type stuff, which is good. Which is also why I did the energy clearing video, because even if you don't feel like you're somebody who's an energetic being or a spiritual being, there is reasons to practice metaphysical practices or spiritual practices. There's reasons to do it, and it does help um, to do some of the spiritual practices that I talked about in that video. So definitely go back and take a look at that video. I think it aired on Monday. And in the tarot, we got, okay, it is the Four of Cups in reverse. Um, Four of Cups in reverse. I feel like this card is really encouraging us to look within. So there's the three cups. If we do right side up, there's three cups on the bottom, but then there's like a cup off to his side. So I always think about like when we have this upright, we always, we're looking at the cup that's out there, but like with it being in reverse, like he's looking within himself for the answer. Because I'm telling you right now, with this Neptune at 29 Pisces for the next month and a half, don't stop looking outside yourself. That's creating that victim mentality, that scarcity mentality, those emotional decisions that are bad anyway, because they always turn out to be shitty. Um, But when you are looking outside yourself, whether you're looking outside yourself for resources or support, and I'm not saying don't re oh, crap, that did not come out the way that when you're looking outside yourself for validation, that's a better word. When you are looking outside yourself for somebody else, your teacher, your coaches, your therapist, I'm not saying don't use those people, but when you are looking to them to validate your creativity, your talent, your this, that, the other thing, is it time to do this thing? When you are looking to them outside of you to validate what you're up to, if you're looking for somebody to give you a cookie or a medal because you did the task, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to sound facetious, although that did sound pretty snarky. That's where you need to look within yourself and find the power within yourself, within your power source, which is your gut, by the way, your solar plexus chakra. Um, it's with looking within yourself to validate within yourself, like, hey, I did a video and I felt really good about it. So it kind of doesn't matter whether it gets any views or, yeah, those would be great, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, oh, I like over on TikTok, I've been doing like the advent calendars over on TikTok. It doesn't matter to me the views. Like, I'm having fun being consistent. Also, I know it's helping me to practice talking about herbs and tea things, right? And same thing with coming back here and reading tarot. Like, am I like the best tarot reader? No, I am practicing, I am learning, I'm studying tarot. Same with herbs and herbalism. I am studying these things, I am learning these things, but it's also good for me to practice talking about it and teaching it and all of that. So, I feel like that's what this Four of Cups in reverse is all about. We'll get a clarification card, clarification on the Four of Cups in reverse. But to me, that card is like, stop looking outside yourself for validation, like whether it's first of all, if you're looking for your family to validate what you're doing, they don't give a fuck because they're okay. If you're Gen X or younger, we'll put it that way. And this is nothing against boomers or older Gen Xers. Okay, this is nothing against you guys, but they lived in a different world. Like my parents and my aunts and uncles, who are all in their 60s and 70s, lived in a different world than me in my 40s and folks younger than me. We're all living in a different world. Things are different. We're probably not going to be retiring like they did with tons of money and resources, which some of them don't even have that. So there's that. Okay, this is the Two of Swords in reverse. You already know the decision. Yeah. You don't need Two of Swords in reverse. This is the decision's already made, or you already know the decision. And that combined with the Four of Cups in reverse, this is like you already know what's going to make you happy. You just won't admit it to yourself. You won't share it with the world. And I'm going to tell you right now, as we get into 2026 and beyond, your gift, your creativity, your talent, your fun thing is something everybody wants to see come out of you. Everybody wants to know what you're creating because human creativity is going to become very important the more we get into AI. And that's going to start happening. There's already AI writers, there's AI, musicians, there's AI artists, there's AI bands on Spotify, and the art community is not having it. So whatever you think you want to create that you think is dumb and that nobody's gonna like it, I guarantee you, because you're a human, people are gonna fucking love it. So please do the thing. You already know what it is. You just don't want to admit it to yourself. All right, self-care. And the reason I'm choosing the self-care oracle is because with this much Capricorn energy, we can really have the desire to work, 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 and not take time to take care of ourselves. Because if you're anything like me, you delay, 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 but then you laser focus on a task to the point where I forget to eat, I forget to drink water, I forget to get up and move, I forget that I'm supposed to go to bed at a certain hour, that I want to go to bed at a certain hour, la, la, la. So we need to remember to take care of ourselves, um, with this much Capricorn type energy. Because people can really get lost in the workings of Capricorn. I know a lot of Capricorns who deal with like adrenal fatigue, and whatnot. Ooh, abundance planning. This is interesting because I just recently did a whole like being prepared to feel to be abundant. As in, what would you do if you suddenly had $5,000? What would you do if you suddenly had a brand new computer, a brand new technology? What would you do if you had the home that you've always wanted? And I think this goes back to the Two of Swords in reverse is like the decision is, whoops, the decision is made, but are you actually prepared for it? Like people say that they want to win the lottery and they want to make six figures. Are you prepared to deal with that? Are you prepared to deal with the responsibility of having abundance? Because if you own a business, even if you work for somebody else, but you make like a ton of money, there's a responsibility that comes with that. And so there is an air of like needing to be prepared. Sorry, somebody's texting me. Seems to be a thing every time I record a YouTube video. Somebody's texting me. Yes, I do use Do Not Disturb, but it's usually people who are on the bypass list of the Do Not Disturb. So, anywho, okay, so that's the self-care is being prepared and planning for your abundance, for your successful abundance and whatever that looks like for you. Um, okay, the herb or oil or tea for this week is ginger. You can combine that with turmeric. You can buy some ginger turmeric tea at the grocery store. There are some really good brands out there. But what I like about ginger is that it is cleansing. It does support uh, reducing inflammation. Um, Combined with turmeric is really delicious. I have a lot of ginger turmeric teas because I just happen to like them. You can also get ginger in an essential oil form. Um, you can also use ginger in your cooking. You can get a squeezy ginger paste. I love it. You can use that in like different Asian dishes and whatnot. And so I like ginger a lot. I like the use of that in this time and space because it's cleansing. Um, and I love it in tea. Chai teas have ginger in them. So if you're interested in chai teas, and whatnot, and I'm not talking about the crappy chai crap you get at the coffee shop. That is a mix of stuff. I'm talking about actual chai tea. That you would get, you can get it, again, you can get it in tea bags at the grocery store. Um, so ginger, you can again use it as an essential oil. You can get it as a root vegetable. You can buy it in a squeezy tube at the grocery store, or you can have it in tea. And then the crystal for this week is citrine. I happen to have a citrine wand, and this is the ultimate cleansing stone. This absorbs everything. So you can use this. I use this when I want to cleanse a tarot deck. So often you guys, I put it back in the box, but often you guys hear me knocking on the deck. That's one way of cleansing a tarot deck or a card deck. You can also set the stone on the card deck and it will cleanse the energy of it. So when I get a fresh deck, I will often do a full cleanse, which includes the citrine. It does include sage smudging. There's ways that I shuffle it or mix the cards up to kind of cleanse out whatever was in it. But when I'm doing these videos, yes, I just do the two knocks, and um, that dislodges the energy. But citrine is great. You can buy it as a wand. You can get it in various forms. Um, but it is a great stone for just cleansing. You can rub it between your hands. You can, use it as a wand to kind of move it around your body to cleanse the energy of your body. And so there's that too. I love this one. It's an easy one to use because you really can't go wrong with it. Um, so that's that. Anyway, so that's your update. Of course, check the links below. The Awakening Spirit Collective is below. You can also get your readings with me and whatnot. And so, yeah. All right. That's what I got for this week. I'll talk to y'all next week. Happy new moon and happy winter solstice.